I want to get into this right away because you have been, like the message that you have put out, and you were saying that you were going to sit out this year. How did you come to that decision? Obviously, I know a lot went into it. Everyone knows what's going on in the country, but how did you individually make that decision that I wanted to focus on something else?
Yeah, well, I just felt that like every time people were asking me questions, I just was not thinking about basketball.
Mm-hmm.
This wasn't part of my thought process. I was thinking about this Juneteenth event I was about to throw, which it was a pop-up block party. It was lit, by the way.
There
And
we go.
I was just trying to think of like things that I could do here in Atlanta because if you'll remember, Atlanta, again, we had another problem with voter suppression. So there's been things, and then Ahmaud Arbery got killed. So all these things are happening in a row. Meanwhile, I'm supposed to be planning and getting ready for the season, and I wasn't thinking about it. So that's kind of, I knew that this was the easier decision to make because this was where I was. This was where my mind is.
Yeah, that makes sense. It was like, well, how'd you come to the decision? It's like, well, this is all I was thinking about.
Exactly.
Yeah. Well, one of your former teammates, Maya Moore, she made the decision, a couple of years ago to sit out. Have you had an opportunity to speak to her? Does she feel? I'm not asking if she misses the game, but I was always taught this. If you walk into a room and it says current player versus former player, like there's always more weight to that.
Oh,
Did you speak to her? Was there any of that conversation going on? I know this is an individual decision that you made, but more of like seeing other teammates that in the past have made the decision. Was there any advice given?
Well, I talked to Coach Ari. I didn't talk to Mama specifically, so I did talk to Coach Ariema about it. And he was talking about the conversation he had with Maya when she was thinking about it. And so he was just telling me different things that she and him talked about and saying, he was asking her, would she be okay financially? He was asking her an array of questions. And I'm answering in my mind like, okay, I think I'll figure it out financially. I'll feel like that former versus current, it's a real thing. Am I okay with now having a former client, a former player tag? So I thought about all of that. I did. And I was, because what good would I be in the bubble if all I'm thinking about is being here in the streets in Atlanta trying to make something happen? So that's kind of why.
No, that makes sense. Gino, I've had so many, former UConn players on here, Sue Bird, and they always have these Gino stories. And, what I love to hear about him, which I think I might have met Gino one or two times just in passing, never really sat down and had a conversation. But the thing I like about him is that people always go back to him for advice. Yeah, right. Like he's that figure that, you were like, no, but I talked to Gino, or Maya said that, she spoke to Gino. And it was like, that to me is as great of a coach as he is, as great. And that's what you're supposed to do as a coach. You're supposed to lead young minds, and you should always be there for them when they get older and they're starting to make more adult, mature decisions. And it's good to hear that you talked to him. Was there any advice? Was there anything that he gave you?
Definitely. So he was saying that, there's always going to be extremists. There's always going to be the cops that don't want things to change. There's a large amount of people that don't want racism to end. So you have to remember that. And then you have to focus on the large majority that does want change. So he said, you're going to have people that they throw the bricks into a building, not because they're mad, just because they want to cause trouble. They're not part of the protester group. You have some of the cops that they're just going to do their own thing because that's their own personal beliefs. Don't worry about them. Worry about the middle. So after he was telling me that, that was good advice, because even in sports, it doesn't matter. Like in sports, whatever, there's going to be people that are opposing what you think, opposing what you do, but worry about who wants to do better, who wants to change.
Okay. So I know that this is kind of a unique year. Is this something that, like Maya, there's been no report of her possibly coming back? Like, what season is she done for good? She's saying she's taking a break, but these breaks start to kind of add up. Is this just a temporary one, just because of like the shortened season? Are you planning? Plans can change. Or are you planning on coming back and playing the next traditional year?
Yeah, I'm planning. Yeah, for sure. Okay. I think that this is just a moment in time, and that's why I said that this is like these moments will equal momentum. And what I mean by that is, in 4 months, like, are all the businesses going to be wanting to hear what you have to say, or all these people going to be trying to make? There's a lot of changes happening like right now. Is that going to continue? Is that going to happen in 4 months? I don't know. So for that reason, like right now is the time to make as much as we can happen.
That is very true. Have you guys connected? Is this an individual thing that you're doing? There's been other athletes that have decided
Yeah.
that they're not doing it. It's like, hey, well, it's same thing. There's strength in numbers. If there's
Yeah.
3 or 4 of us that decide to sit out, we don't need to encourage other people, but let's all come together and let's figure out what direction that we want to go, what impact that we can sit here and talk for a couple hours and be like, hey, this is what we want to focus on as a group. Let's go attack this 1, 2, 3. Have you had those conversations, or is this like an individual move?
Definitely. And I've had it with other WNBA players that have sat out, with some NBA players. So definitely, because I think what everybody needs to realize, even if we're not in the bubble, the people in the bubble are trying to make change too. We're just not going to be inside of there. So yeah, we've definitely had those conversations. We definitely have some plans. And again, it's not to encourage other players not to play. It's simply the fact that if we aren't playing, let's figure this thing out together.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. One, let me first applaud you for that, because I know how difficult that decision is. Like, we only have so many years to play basketball. We only have so many years. But again, this is a movement. Like, truth be told, no one really is going to remember what happened 7 years ago in the NBA. Like, you might know who the champion was. You might have like the historians that know, but this is a moment in time that will be remembered forever. And so when I applaud you for being one of the people that have decided, and also too, the fact that this is your decision, right? Like, there are people that are saying like, oh, we shouldn't play at all. And you're like, no, this is an individual decision for me, as it should be. In your Instagram bio, it says actress. Now, is this a personal joke? Are we planning on doing so? Are we doing some? Look, we're going to talk about that, but we got other things to talk about too.
I like that. So I actually took acting classes for more than a year. Improv classes. I've actually.
Yeah, where'd you take improv classes at?
Down here in Buckhead. So it's oh my gosh, I need to give you a shout.
Let me. Take your time. Okay, now you're not giving them a great thing. So I took improv classes also. I took improv classes for 3 years at UCB here in Los Angeles, just because I wanted to get better at broadcasting, not because I want to be an actor, not because I'm good or any of that. But how beneficial are those classes? How fun are they?
Oh, what improv? So since you took improv helps you on your toes. So
it does.
You're never really caught off guard. So a lot of times it doesn't matter with the pre-recorded, but for those rare times where it's like we're live. And it's Nick Conti. The studio is Nick Conti. Somebody texted me that's watching it. Thank you, Serena Grace. It is Nick Conti's acting studio here in Atlanta. So and it just kind of helps you with understanding dynamics. So and
listening and registering, like you're having to think. Yeah, it is extremely difficult. So one thing that I learned, and as athletes, even especially getting into the broadcasting space, I don't know if you want to be an actress or a broadcaster, whatever it is, you have to learn like that you're going to fail. Like you're going to go out there and you're going to say something and you're just going to be like, and that part I found fun. Why did I say that? And I was doing classes with like 17-year-olds and 57-year-olds. Like I'm in there with classes and everyone's just there trying to figure it out. So I applaud you, man. That is not it's not the easy thing. What is it that you want to do? Are you interested, or is it just a?
So I think the main thing I want to do, Michael Strahan type package in a sense of like daytime talk showy, but also he still calls the playoffs in the NFL sometimes. So I want to be like, I don't want to completely leave basketball, but I do think I want to go to traditional entertainment in the sense of talk show style, because that's what I'm kind of drawn to. So yeah,
right. Like I'm so sick of talking to basketball players. Like, God, it's the worst. I'm joking. It's just like you're sitting here like,
sorry. And I actually, so you talk to people. I actually do like commentating, broadcasting. So I do color commentating for ESPN. When I'm in studio, like hosting, that's different. That's how I know that I want to stay in studio.
Yeah. So you've done the analyst work, or have you hosted also?
Yeah. So for this last season for the Hawks, I did some games with Fox Sports South in the in studio, and for ESPN, and for ESPN, I do NCAA women, and I was supposed to call the G League Finals, but that got canceled. So
Thank you for watching ESPN on YouTube. For live streaming sports and premium content, subscribe to ESPN+.